Hello there. It is February 19th, and let me try to fix this a little better. Okay. And I haven't done a vlog, but that's okay, right? Um, like I said, it's kind of new to this thing, and um, I don't know, just trying it out. I know last time I gave like a little short intro, and then I was going to do another video, but life gets crazy and so does school, so haven't had some time. But today I have a little bit of time before I head out for my classes. It's since we had President's Day yesterday. Um, our Monday schedule for college is pushed to Tuesday, so I don't have any of my Tuesday classes, which is nice because that eliminates my physiology lab for the week, which I don't mind the break. So anyways, I guess maybe we'll start with a little background of where I came from and I don't know where I am now, I guess. So, if I told you last time, I'm 37 years old and I'm married for the second time. I have 4 stepchildren and 1 son. Um, he is 14 and my stepchildren are 11, 14, 15, almost 16, and 18. I grew up in a little town, Canal Fulton in Ohio, and I lived there for the majority of my teenage life. I grew up LDS, and for those that might not know what that means, it's I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and some people tag you as a Mormon, but we're Latter-day Saints. And I spent a lot of time as a youth really strong in my religion. As faithful as I could be for living where we did. There weren't a lot of LDS families in my area in Ohio versus where I'm living now in Utah, which I'm in a little tiny town called Ephraim, and I absolutely love it. It's very similar to Canal Fulton, except for it's definitely more country, and I like it. It's good. So I graduated in 2000 and decided that I wanted to go out west and go to Dixie State College. Well, it was Dixie Community College back then. And what was my hair doing today? Whatever. And so I went out there and kind of started finding who I was or who I thought I was. And I ended up staying out there for about a year and come back home to Ohio. And that time I had decided that I no longer wanted to go to church or really live that lifestyle. So I became inactive for 15 years. In that time, I got married to my high school sweetheart, which ended up not being my sweetheart at all. He was a pretty crappy dude. My son came out of that, so that was pretty good. When my son was 3 months old, we divorced. He had, from the very beginning of before we got engaged, he had been cheating on me with multiple people. The day before we got married, he cheated. And I kind of was really naive because he was the first relationship I was really, really serious in. And anyways, there was a lot of verbal, emotional, mental, sexual abuse in that relationship, and it was not one of my brightest moments. After we divorced, I just kind of spiraled out of control and went and met other people and met somebody online that we became really good friends, and I thought that there was the potential for more, and he kind of manipulated that feeling that I had to get what he wanted out of that. So in the midst of that relationship, I ended up pregnant again, and when I told him, he basically told me that if I have this child, he was going to kill himself, and I didn't know what to do. And then I talked to my mom. I didn't have much of a support system, but my mom, and we decided that it would be very selfish of me to keep a baby, and as I'm already struggling as a single mom with my son from my previous marriage. And so I prayed about it a lot, and we decided that I was going to place him up for adoption through the church's family services and adoption services. So that was pretty hard. Um, it was one of the hardest things, but most rewarding things I've ever done. And I believe that through my choices and the decision that I made to bless another family with a baby, that there were blessings that would eventually come in my life. Some I've had and some may still to come. So after that happened, it was kind of hard for me emotionally, and I had just been diagnosed with some depression and some slight anxiety at that point in time. So I just started taking medications, and in that time I was on medication, I started to feel great, so I took myself off. And this became a cycle of mine for several years where I would get really, really bad. I'd go see a doctor, put back on medication, feel great, and take myself off of it. And it was really, really bad. So I'm going to say in about 2011, the beginning of 2011, I got into my last serious relationship, and it was with somebody I went to high school with. We had been good friends for years and years and years, and he was recently on his own journey of sobriety. He had been an addict for quite some time, and we started hanging out again, and he couldn't drive, so I would take him to his meetings and everything. And then after a while, we were kind of like, hey, you know what, let's give this a try. So we started dating. That first year that we were dating was pretty good, and then he relapsed. And after that, that became a 5-year cycle of some of the worst experiences I've ever been in my life. I became extremely codependent. I was very adamant on the fact that I was going to help him and that I could help him and he needed me. And that continued to the point that I got stuck into this cycle of enabling him. He was a very serious opiate user. It went for years and years where I was stuck, and then it became very, very physically abusive, verbally, emotionally, and I had felt like I was stuck. I couldn't get out. There were times that we believe that through going to the doctors here now that I did have some traumatic brain injuries that occurred from some of the abuse that was done to me physically, and it was just to the point that I did not want to wake up anymore. I had my son, but I almost wished him to be with his father, who is a piece of crap, over me, because I hated my life. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to go check on my dog. So anyways, long story short, about 5 years of being in that relationship with him, and he lots of legal things, a lot of bad things. This whole 5 years is for a whole nother video. But needless to say, I finally felt like I had had enough and I was ready to heal from things and get away. So I called my mom, and she lived in West Valley, Utah. And I told her what was going on, and her and my stepdad had decided that it would be a good idea for me to come out for the summertime and just use that summer to heal. So I came out here and kind of decided after the summertime it was almost time for me to go back to Ohio, and I was just really like worried about it. I had started going to a doctor and found out that I had been diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder, depression, PTSD, CPTSD, those type things, PTSD to be exact, from the past 15 years of my life, that we decided that we were going to try to stay in Ohio, and my son's father didn't really care, so we stayed here. And so we started our lives here in Utah, and I'm going to say about September of that year, my mom had been on me about meeting people and making friends because I kind of just stayed home. And to appease her and make her happy, I joined a Facebook group for LDS singles. not even expecting anything of it. And incidentally, that same exact day, uh, this guy joined too, and we friend requested each other and started talking and talking and talking. And so, needless to say, here I am, March 10th of 2017. Me and him got married, and we'll be married for 2 years this coming March 10th. So, um, and life has gotten really, really good. Uh, I decided to go back to church, where I was living with my mom, because that was one of the stipulations of staying there, is I needed to go to church, and I wanted to, and my son wanted to too, and he was baptized, and I was able to go through the temple for the first time in my life, and then me and my husband were sealed in the temple last March. So this year has been a rough year. I decided to go back to school, so the first year that I started back to school was difficult. My second semester, I had started getting these things with my face where it would swell really bad, and we weren't really sure why. Come to find out, my sinus cavities were completely full of cysts, so I had to have a sinus surgery that ended up being way more invasive than we thought. And we were living in our house where my in-laws have been living for the past, well, 2 years. They were actually supposed to move out after we got married, and we are currently waiting for them to move out in the next couple weeks. So fingers crossed. That had a lot of stress, so I didn't do the best with school. So here I am in my second semester of the second year, and it's almost like it's my second semester period that I'm able to actually work hard towards. I'm trying to getting into the nursing program so I can become an RN, and then potentially down the road I would love to either be a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant, but we will see how that goes. So that is a little background on me. Currently, other than a full-time student, full-time mom, stepmom, bonus mom, however you want to say it, I hold a full-time calling in our church as a second counselor in our young women's program, and it's very demanding and whatnot. My husband is also the first counselor in the young men, so we are busy, 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 and I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely love it. So that's my little video for today. I don't know when I'll be able to hop back on. I want to try to do it once a week, but I'm not so sure if I'll be able to do it or what, but we shall see. So that's it. So if you watched or tried to watch, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. That sounds so weird to say that. I am a YouTube junkie, so I watch YouTube all the time. So when I hear people like, let's get into it, or subscribe below, I feel really weird saying that. So if you want to, you want to. If not, this is more so for me and a visual journaling for me. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. We will see ya next time.